You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 122. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Jordan Andrews.
All right, now, so this is continuation of our look at Silver Age Aquaman. All the stories we'll talk about on this episode can be found in Showcase Presents Aquaman Volume 1. And continuing on from last episode, let's just get going. This story is called The Great Ocean Election, reprinted from Adventure Comics number 263. The writer is unknown, but Ramona Fraden did the art. It's lovely stuff.
Oh, it really is, and I love this splash page with Aquaman's got his arm around this honest Vic Wake, they call him.
Yeah, in quotations, right?
Oh, no, not this time.
No? Oh, okay.
And then you got this seedier-looking guy in the background with an extra long cigarette. You know, those guys are bad news.
Yeah.
And a bottle with 3 X's on it, and he's talking about his fish swallowing these poison pills.
Oh, that's a thought balloon. He's thinking it.
Oh, thinking it, right.
Come on.
Just to himself.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have Aquaman patrolling the oceans on Topo.
Topo!
And he sees this blimp, elect Vic Wake, the honest candidate. And then out of nowhere, it just gets blasted out of the sky.
By supervillainy.
Yeah.
Of course, not really. We don't really see supervillains just yet.
Not yet. So he goes into town real quick and sees these guys driving away on this truck with a Gatling gun, which I guess you can just do.
Sure.
And,
hey, this is America.
Yeah, I guess. And so they drive away saying, that'll teach you to run against Big Jim. And that's
Big Jim.
Big Jim. So Aquaman goes over to the guy and asks what's up, and the guy obviously recognizes Aquaman, and Aquaman says, I recognize you from your blimp. So this guy, Vic Wake, we realize, says, I used to work for the Treasury, but I was fired because I found out this Big Jim dude was stealing from the public funds, so I decided to run against him. But I can't, make a successful campaign because his hands are so deep in everybody's pockets that...
Big Jim.
Yeah, Big Jim. That everything I try, he finds a way around.
Yeah. Okay.
So Aquaman says, well, why don't I help? Using his very specialized expertise. So he gets his electric eels to climb on top of each other in kind of a cheerleader ladder type situation.
Okay. To
spell out a bright electric eel, somehow neon type sign that says, vote for Vic Wake, the honest candidate. They're really trying to push that honest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no partisan politics here. There's no platform.
Right. This guy's honest, this guy's crooked.
Yeah. So
then the governor...
No issues are addressed here.
Yeah. The governor, Big Jim's cronies are looking out the window at this giant sign, and they tell him about it. So he calls up some favors with Admiral Wallace and gets Admiral Wallace to move this big destroyer battleship in front of Aquaman's eel sign. Blocking it, keeping people from seeing it. So then the next day, Aquaman's out in the water with his octopus, and Vic Wake comes out and notices the octopus are spinning. And he wonders why. And Aquaman says, well, good question. And then all of a sudden, the octopus toss these objects that we don't know what they are yet. And then on the very next page, we realize they're seashells with Vic Wake's name and campaign message on them. So, the honest candidate.
Yeah. So I get that Aquaman is trying to, stop Big Jim because he's crooked. But why exactly is he helping Vic Wake? How did... You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he told the sob story about how he was the treasurer. And
okay.
So, Big Jim, not to be, outdone, calls in the Department of Sanitation, who, with guns and bayonets...
Right. Fix bayonets to pick up litter.
Force people to not pick up the seashells because they're litter, and they need to be removed to the garbage dumps instead. thus again keeping the people from noticing Vic Wake. So he's over there crying, and Topo's got his tentacle around
Vic Wake is crying?
Yeah, see, he's right there.
Oh, yeah.
Vic Wake is crying, and Topo's got his tentacle around his shoulder. It's okay, buddy. And then Aquaman decides, I'll, make this big ocean party gala thing that everybody will come see.
Oh my God.
Then we can tell them about it.
Okay.
So, but Big Jim hears about the idea, and so he decides to kind of take the pretty drastic step of poisoning Aquaman's octopus. But Aquaman catches wind of this, and then the very next thing you see this swordfish coming and snapping the bottle, bullseyeing the cork, and just taking it away from Big Jim.
Right.
And Aquaman comes out all stealthy-like and says, I thought you might try to pull something. So then Big Jim reaches for a harpoon. And that escalated pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And,
I threw a trident.
Yeah. And then Topo and the rest of the octopus jump on the back of these whales and direct their spout jet streams right at Big Jim and just knock him on his keister. And then Aquaman says, I'm going to have a go at that crooked politician. So he does his whirlpool thing where he spins around him really quickly, making him dizzy. And
yeah.
Big Jim is begging him to stop, and Aquaman says, only when you've admitted to your crimes. So then we've got Topo here, pulling him up by his jacket, still partially in the water.
Yeah.
And Topo's got this real angry look on his face.
Yeah.
And Aquaman says, all right, Big Jim, tell him what's going on. And so he admits and confesses that he robbed the public treasury. And then we end with Vic Wake being elected and asking Aquaman to be appointed as the protector of Comstock, which I guess is this little island nation.
Weird. Probably not nation, but town.
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's pretty sure it's America.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they all speak English, but
that that doesn't mean anything. But
yeah. Oh, it's a small island country, the coastline of a small island country.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
You're looking back at the beginning. I see. It just seemed like a any town USA.
Right. And I think that's what it's supposed to.
But
I think it's furthering the everybody's like us kind of thing.
Okay.
Makes people feel better about getting the comics.
Okay. The next story we've got to talk about is called Aquaman and His Sea Police. And this is a reprint from Adventure Comics number 264.
Going right along with the chronological order.
Yes, written by Robert Bernstein with art by Ramona Fraden.
So here we have
one of the. I have to say, in the gold and silver ages of comics, there really weren't many women working in comics.
Mm-hmm.
So she's definitely stands out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even think that many women were working in comics even in the 1970s, the Bronze Age.
Right.
Yeah.
She does really great work. I mean, the detail on the faces.
Oh, I enjoy her stuff immensely. And another series that we should take a look at in the future is the Silver Age Metamorpho material, which she does
also.
Most of, I want to say. But anyway.
So on the splash page, we have these octopus holding back this speedboat, and Aquaman talking about hot rod speedboats can't race around town anymore with my sea police patrolling.
So Aquaman's got a policeman's hat.
Yeah, and a little sea star for a sheriff's badge.
Oh,
I love that.
What do we call those? Starfish?
Starfish. Technically, they're called sea stars because they're
really?
not actually fish.
Yeah, but
That's a sciencey thing.
Yeah, you science.
So Aquaman is just visiting another coastal city, and he sees this floating sign saying, welcome to New Venice, which is kind of clever, Venice, Italy, the flooded city.
Right.
Aquaman talks about how he promised to pay a visit to the mayor, but didn't realize how changed it became after it was flooded by a seaquake. Seaquakes are another common theme in Aquaman comics.
Yeah.
In terms of the big natural disasters that can happen at any time.
Right.
So Aquaman visits the mayor, and the mayor shows him around town, and to all these little miscreant delinquents,
Right.
tossing litter into the sea and using their souped-up hot rod speedboats to not pay attention to the stoplights.
Right.
And the mayor is just beside himself. The police can't do anything. I can't do anything. What should we do? And Aquaman says, well, I was going to spend a few days vacation here anyway, so I might as well clean up the city.
Right.
So his very first act as Aquaman Sea Sheriff is to stop a speeder, and he has his seal plug up the motor with seaweed.
Plug it up! Plug it up!
And I love this.
And if you get that reference, you get a high five.
See, I don't get that reference. So.
Oh, you ever saw the original Carrie?
No, I didn't. I haven't seen the remake either.
I haven't either, but the remake, but I've seen the original.
Right. I mean, I know about it. It's iconic. I just don't know
It's okay.
the specific quote. But I love that after the seal stuffs the pack of seaweed into the propeller, this next page with the guys sailing out of the boat and this one hitting his head on the glass, just classic. I love it.
Yeah.
And then the very next one, the guy's just in the water, kind of wah-wah, kind of cooling off kind of thing. But
Okay.
the other guy's rubbing his head, which is funny. So they, Aquaman says with his foot on the boat, very authoritarian like, if I catch you speeding again, you're going to have your license revoked. And they're wondering how he stopped them.
Right.
And he says, well, my seal stuffed seaweed in your motor. And this other passing motorist thinks, well, I'll just get a more powerful motor then. And so Aquaman has the seal try to catch that guy with the same trick, but the motor tears up the seaweed, and he just keeps on going. But he doesn't get very far, because then Aquaman summons his whale to take the boat out of water, which seems like a dangerous thing to do, because the propeller could really chew up the whale. But
yeah, well,
yeah.
The answer to many questions is, because it's a comic book.
Exactly.
So
I love it that way.
Yeah.
So this guy doesn't get a warning because
Aquaman just shoots him in the face. No, just kidding.
He's wise to his high propeller scheme, so he says, I'm just going to take you to jail and revoke your license. And, cut away.
Sleep with your wife.
Yeah, at this point, Aquawoman is nowhere in sight, or Aquagirl. Nowhere in sight. Mira isn't in the picture.
No, that's going to be a while.
Yeah. So we cut away from there, and then we see this octopus just hanging out on a pier, also with a starfish sheriff badge.
Right.
And this guy is digging in his pockets saying, oh no, somebody pickpocketed me. And his wife comes and calls the octopus sheriff and tells him about it. So he reaches out all of his arms to everybody's pockets and pulls out this guy's pocket, or this guy's wallet from somebody else's pocket. And he says, oh, that's my wallet. In this town, the long arm of the law reaches out with too many arms for pickpockets to succeed.
And that's right. You're reading a story where the superhero is stopping pickpockets with octopus.
How awesome.
Okay.
So then Aquaman is patrolling later and kind of water skiing with some dolphins. And he gets hit with trash by these tourists or something. So then he summons seagulls, which I'm assuming is the same kind of water buffalo logic last episode.
Right. They get wet, right?
Yeah,
so
it's got C in their name. He must be able to control them.
Sure.
So he has the seagulls pick up the litter and then drop it on the people.
Yeah.
Kind of a clever turn of events. And then he has his swordfish kind of poke at the rest of the trash floating around, kind of like those poker sticks that you use when you're picking up trash.
Oh, yeah. The stick with the nail in the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and then, he's getting the canals clean, one spear or swordfish at a time. So then later he sees these people, just this large group of people, illegally fishing
Mm-hmm.
He says, I warned them that it's not the fishing season. So I guess they didn't listen. Now I'm going to have to use other tactics. So he has his swordfish hook their lines with all kinds of trash and like rusty barrels and things like that. And he says, I told you, you can't,
Right.
fish there. Very next scene, we see this guy come up out of the water with a gun, which I'm not sure would still work anymore.
Right.
But, the woman that he's trying to rob doesn't know that, so he's sticking her up. And she screams for help, and Aquaman says, I'll fix this rogue. And so the guy is swimming away because he's got this scuba gear on. They call it skin diving, so I don't know.
Well, that's the term.
Okay.
Well, it's a term that is still used.
Oh.
But yeah.
You learn something new every day. The more you know.
So
then Aquaman gets his sharks to come teach the guy a lesson. Oh no, I'm trapped. And then Aquaman uses his signature whirlpool technique to dizzy the guy up so that he will be glad to be arrested and booked at the police station. So he's no longer swimming around in that whirlpool. And then Aquaman is getting ready to leave New Venice.
Right.
When the water starts to decrease again. Starts to
recede?
Yeah, recede. And all of the townspeople rally and try to get Aquaman to plug it back up because they got used to it.
Right.
Now we want our streets to be flooded.
What?
Okay. And then Aquaman says, I'll allow it. And so he goes down, and with the seaquake again, the town was originally deluged by a seaquake. He thought maybe the ocean split open and the water's sucking back in. So he's getting all of his ocean friends to stuff it with things like a boat.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, other rocks, that kind of thing. And so they plug the hole. New Venice is still New Venice and flooded. And they give him a parade.
In the water.
In the water. And he's water skiing through the canals. Ticker tapes being thrown around at him.
Ticker tape.
And so it says, the following morning, the citizens give Aquaman and his sea police a ticker tape parade. Classic 60s parades.
Oh my gosh.
And the mayor says, you taught New Venice how to be a model sea city. Because apparently all it takes is 3 days of Aquaman cleaning stuff up and to make people never do it again.
Right. So the next story we've got is called The Secret of the Super Safe. It's from Adventure Comics number 265. Robert Bernstein wrote it. Ramona Fraden drew it.
So the splash page is just this massive super safe. And Aquaman wondering how it got there.
Just so you know, it's yeah, go ahead. Never mind. I was going to nitpick, but it doesn't matter.
Well, that's all right. So, just like before, when we talked about Aquaman versus the Animal Master,
yeah,
Aquaman is getting a bunch of messages in a bottle, all from the same guy, and he thinks, Gustav must still be around. No, he doesn't say that at all.
Okay.
But the same message is inside all of them. Mr. Roxroyd, who lives on a lonely island, begs for my help. So Aquaman goes over there.
Mm-hmm.
And as he goes toward the island, he sees this giant safe. And
yes.
So, okay. Then he talks to this Roxroyd guy, and we kind of skip over the part where he meets him, and they talk, and he begins to trust him. But there they are, with Aquaman asking what's going on with the safe.
Yeah.
And Roxroyd says, well, I built it, but I want to transport it 20 miles out at sea and let it sink to the bottom. Aquaman asks what's inside, but Roxroyd won't tell him. And so Aquaman wonders...
It's full of stars! Oh, just kidding.
So then Aquaman asks if, well, what if there's something stolen in it? And he says, well, there isn't anything stolen in it. And then Aquaman asks if he'd submit to a lie detector test. And Roxroyd says, well, I would take one, but where can we get a lie detector on this barren island? Enter Topo,
the octopus.
the lie detector puss.
Detectopus.
Who can apparently wrap his tentacles around people and tell if they're lying or not. And Aquaman asks if, there's anything in the safe. And Roxroyd says, I swear there's nothing harmful or stolen inside the safe. And that's not foreshadowing anything.
No.
But Topo gives him the green light. And so Aquaman decides to dump a giant safe in the middle of the ocean because that's what Aquaman does. I mean, you'd think he'd be worried about pollution or,
crushing things,
Yeah, I'm the king of the sea.
I'll do what I want. Yeah. I'll just spoil the environment. It's cool.
So he floats in this giant glacier.
Yeah.
Which is clever. I like that. It's a good.
Sure.
But the safe is too heavy to move. So he has his octopi dig out this trench. The safe kind of topples, and then it uses it as a ramp down to the iceberg. They float the iceberg out into the middle of the ocean where Roxroyd asked him to, and then kind of just let it melt. And eventually it melts all the way, the ball drops to the bottom. And Roxroyd had mentioned that there might be some scavengers coming for the safe.
Yeah.
And should keep an eye out, which also apparently didn't raise any red flags.
No. This is all on the up and up.
Yeah, it must be. It must be good. So shortly after dropping, Aquaman notices that this bathysphere.
Yes.
I love that word.
Oh my gosh.
Word.
Bathyspheres get used so much in the Silver Age, and we'll see them a lot in this as we talk about this throughout our coverage of Silver Age Aquaman.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But anyway, so they've got this bathysphere, and Aquaman figures, well, where there's a bathysphere, there's pirates. So he has the swordfish kind of launch the bathysphere back up to the surface, not worrying about this guy getting the bends or anything.
Right.
But then Aquaman comes up and sees these guys and says, all right, what's going on? Give me an explanation. And they say, well, the explanation is the ocean is free for anybody, and we can explore where we want.
Nah.
So they start arguing with Aquaman until he
Not
notices,
a good idea.
He's also a lawyer. Oh, wait, that's a different superhero. Okay, but while they're arguing, Aquaman notices there's another hose leading down to the ocean.
That hose is in different area codes. No, I'm just kidding. Does that even work? Where my hose at?
Yeah, right.
Okay, I'm done with that.
Dropping off the other side of a boat.
I'm done with that joke. Okay.
So Aquaman notices that there's somebody else tooling around down there, and they were just distracting him with their arguments.
Right.
And so this guy is rigging explosives to this safe. And
okay.
As per usual, Aquaman says...
the huge.
Yeah, the huge. Oh no, he's gonna start a seaquake.
Oh my gosh.
So seaquakes, they're
one seaquake per story.
Yeah, they're a big deal. Okay.
Yeah,
those
seaquakes. It's a real problem.
So he pulled this guy up by his air hose, which poses a few problems because this thing is at the bottom of the ocean,
right?
20 miles out from land, so it's got to be pretty deep.
Word.
If he's grabbing onto this hose, this guy is running out of oxygen.
Yeah.
But anyway, he pulls him up, and apparently the guy's unharmed. But Aquaman figures there must be something tremendously valuable in the safe. So he tries to, talk to the pirates again and say, okay, what gives? Something's going on. And all the pirate says is, you've been duped by Roxroyd.
Oh, man. I hate it when I get duped.
So there's all this confusing, crazy stuff going on in Aquaman's head. Like,
right.
Why did I just transport this safe 20 miles out to sea? I have no idea what's in it. So he's starting to get, I don't know the word. Suspicious.
Okay, there we go.
So Aquaman swims back to Roxroyd as fast as he can while... Oh, not yet.
No?
No, he swims to the bottom because the safe blew up. But Aquaman and the dude that was planting the explosives got away just in time. So Aquaman goes to see what is inside the safe since it blew up.
Yeah.
And he sees that all it is a solid block of stone, painted gray with fake handles and a fake combination to make it look like a safe.
What?
But then he sees something else equally suspicious. There's some ooze underneath the big stone block.
Okay.
So he has his eels do some chemical work to figure out what it is, and he realizes that they're plates of some sort. So he swims back to Roxroyd, who finally admits that he's a counterfeiter. And he counterfeited all this money and then dumped the plates in the middle of the ocean with the help of these two guys.
And though people were going after, they want the counterfeit plates so they can put them on a press and print off money.
Right.
Okay.
So, but
I used to work on a printing press, so I used to
counterfeit all the time?
No. Only a little.
Yeah.
But I used to, put plates on the press all the time.
Yeah.
And that's a thing.
That's cool. So he apparently had his fill of counterfeiting and decided to dump the plates so that, he couldn't get found out. But the guys that he hired ended up blackmailing him, saying, we're going to tell about the plates. So this is where it gets kind of fuzzy for me.
Okay.
Because it looks like Roxroyd hired the guys to dump the plates.
Uh-huh.
But then it talks about how Roxroyd ended up dumping the plates instead of the blackmailers.
And
then, but at any rate, he carved this huge chunk of stone out, painted it like a vault so that he could crush the plates and nobody could find them or recover them.
Okay.
So Aquaman says, well, I will lift the stone block. I'll use my fish friends to lift the stone block so to prove you guilty. And then Roxroyd says, you can't move it. But then Aquaman comes back a couple hours later with his whale friends carrying this huge safe with a blown open door. And so Roxroyd thinks, oh my gosh. He says 100 Moby Dicks couldn't lift that huge weight from the bottom.
And he's right, because it's just the front of it is painted to look like that, and it's really just a wood crate that the whales are carrying.
So Aquaman pulled his trick on... Aquaman pulled Roxroyd's trick on Roxroyd.
And that kind of reversal, you will see that time and again in just Silver Age comic stories. You'll see that kind of thing in these, but especially like when you read the Silver Age Superman stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. But they're great. They're really fun.
Yeah.
So
he makes a full confession to the Coast Guard.
The Coast Guard.
Right, yeah. Who are you gonna confess to? I guess the Coast Guard.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, that's natural. But then shortly after, Aquaman reveals it was just a wooden block. And it literally says Roxroyd groan. It's right there. Just,
So
the end.
The end. And that's the end of that story. So the last story we've got to talk about today is it's called The Mermaid from Metropolis, and it's a reprint from Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 12. The writer is unknown, but Kurt Schaffenberger did the art. And so
we get a look at a different artist.
Yes.
2 episodes in, the very last issue we do. Because all all the others were done by Ramona Fradon.
Yeah. And she'll do quite a bit of them for a while as we're doing these. But anyway.
I mean, I like her work. It's just, nice to see some variety.
Yeah, totally.
So, Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, on the splash page is Lois as a mermaid, asking Aquaman to help her forget Superman.
What?
So, I think this one was just interesting to me. I really liked it.
Okay. Oh, good.
Yeah. So
I hated it. Oh, I'm kidding.
here we have, and this is in quotes, girl reporter Lois Lane.
Oh, was she a girl?
I don't know why they would. I mean, they use it a lot, but I don't know. Girl reporter Lois Lane frolics at Waikiki Beach in Honolulu.
Oh, that's right.
So this one takes place in Hawaii, and the fascinating.
Oh, is that where Honolulu is? Waikiki?
But the fascinating thing is that this was mere months after Hawaii was admitted as the 50th state.
That's right. I was like, is Hawaii even a part of America at this time?
Just became part of America at this point. So
It's coming to America today, yeah.
Oh, God.
in the 50s, I think, but yeah, or
Well, I think
1960 or something like that.
Neil Diamond came after that, didn't he?
Well, I know, but thank you for getting the reference. But
Okay, so
got a dream to take me there. Okay, I'm done. Maybe.
So we have Lois here, Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, girl reporter, here in Hawaii with some random dude who is unnamed, and he has one line of dialogue, and we never see him again in the issue. But he says, "Hey Lois, there's a radio flash. Superman is flying here this weekend to celebrate Hawaii's admission as our 50th state."
Oh, wow! This is so topical and relevant.
I know, isn't that great?
Yeah.
I love
Okay.
it. So she doesn't
Kind of kidding, but yeah.
She doesn't even say anything to this guy, but she's thinking in her head, "Oh, Superman doesn't know I'm here. I'll surprise him," as girlfriends do.
Okay.
So then she goes skin diving. There's that word again.
Yeah.
Taking pictures for, I'm assuming, the Daily Planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's called, right? I always
Yes.
get the
Yes, the Daily Planet.
Okay, I always get
In the Golden Age, it was the Daily Star.
Oh.
So on Earth 2, Clark and Lois worked at the Daily Star, not the Daily Planet.
Okay. So she's taking pictures.
A little bit of information there.
Educate me.
Yeah, and then of course in the 1970s, it became the Daily Planet got bought by the Galaxy Broadcasting System station, and they were, or at least Clark became a newscaster for the GBS, and it was not so much the Daily Planet, but then Crisis happened, and then after Crisis, I think it was back to the planet.
Right.
So
everything's back to normal, sort of. Or is it?
kind of.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Bum. Okay, so then we have Lois skin diving to get some pictures of a wreck of a Spanish frigate down below. And so she's telling this guy, "Don't worry, I've got this outboard motor boat. I can take myself back. But don't worry about picking me up." So she's down there taking these pictures, and then all of a sudden, Seaquake!
Another Seaquake?
So many Seaquakes. They happen.
I swear. Yeah.
The struggle is real, people. So a Seaquake happens, and the wreck just wrecks. And
thank you for clarifying that.
Woo! Punny. This mast from the ship topples over onto Lois's legs. So she's crushed under the sea, and she thinks to herself, "Oh, if I could call Superman, he would rescue me, but I can't because I'm underwater."
Well, here's the thing. How come Jimmy Olsen has a signal watch and Lois doesn't?
Oh, well, does Jimmy Olsen have a signal watch at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's pretty firmly established.
Okay.
Yeah, at this point. But
Superman, give your girlfriend a signal watch, man.
Seriously.
I mean, it's like one of those Life Alert necklaces that you have for old people that, have fallen and can't get up.
Right.
That's Lois's problem right now.
I know. If Life Alert, it's Kryptonian Alert.
Yeah, Kryptonian Life Alert. I bet they have people 24/7 standing by to take your call.
Well, at least Superman robots. I mean.
Right.
He's got a whole mess of them back at the Fortress of Solitude. So anyway.
So Lois is breathing her last. I mean, that would be the worst. To be stuck at the bottom of the ocean, but you're able to breathe, so you can't, just drown.
Well, yeah.
So you're just kind of waiting
to die.
Yeah,
that's fun. But wait, she doesn't have to wait for long because Aquaman
and Topo show up.
Yay!
In this very classic strong man lifting the mast up. With
Yeah.
Topo's help, of course. And
Yeah.
Topo, this is the first time that he really looks huge.
Right.
Because, I mean, he's supposed to be.
Right, but
They
I think in a
never-
lot of these early stories, he's just a standard
An
size
octopus.
octopus.
Yeah. So they pull the mast off of her,
Yeah.
and Aquaman realizes there's no time to rush her to Honolulu Hospital. So I've got to take her to a dude who just finished a year's medical research on a lonely island that's apparently closer, even though she's kind of just off the mainland. But
yeah.
So he takes her to this Dr. Hansen guy who is just packing up, but able to perform the operation. And Lois is here in a coma, and he says, "We can only do one thing, but we can't ask her permission for it."
Okay, there's a lot of problems.
Malpractice. This guy's losing his license all over
A
the place.
year's research for a major transplant and surgery.
Yeah.
Okay, but it works, and he gives Lois gills and turns her into a mermaid.
Internal gills, and wraps her legs up with, a big mermaid tail thing. And before she wakes up, Aquaman takes her out into the middle of the ocean and kind of, just settles her in the water to get her used to it. And then she wakes up.
Yeah. So, there's 2 cities of Atlantis in DC Comics, right?
No, I did not know that.
I thought I gave you the who's who in DC Comics. I was really hoping you were going to read at least the Aquaman and Atlantis entries.
I should have.
Yeah, well, for next week, that's your homework. There are, and I can't remember the specifics of it, but one city is people who are like, 2-legged, and one people who are mermaids and stuff. And they just kind of evolved differently or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're still under, I think, Aquaman's, I don't know.
Jurisdiction still?
I think.
I mean, in the New 52, there are all kinds of different kingdoms.
Right, and this is that kind of thing. We're talking pre-crisis continuity, okay, which is what I usually refer to.
Right.
But, like, for instance, okay, Aquaman has 2 legs, and, and so does Aqualad, and Mera.
Yeah.
But then there's Lori Lamaris, the mermaid, who was a Superman's college girlfriend, and she's from the other Atlantis, or whatever. So, yeah. So, they got merfolks, too.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
That explains this. It really does.
Well, not really, but it's
Sort of.
it's just something to add to it.
Yeah. So Lois wakes up, realizes she can't breathe. Aquaman explains, "I'm sorry, we had to turn you into a mermaid. There was no choice. You were dying. And you're just supposed to be okay with that." So he takes her back into the water because she's gasping for
water.
not air.
Right.
And then Aquaman decides to kind of treat her to the royal treatment underwater to help her forget about her life on the land. So he, brings her jewels and has sea creatures decorate her own house and, all those things that you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And Lois starts to get used to it. And she says, Aquaman isn't Superman, but I can get used to this. Until the weekend approaches and Superman flies this just massive kind of offset. The flag that they use is different than the one that we know now.
Well, it would have been brand new, so...
Right. So it's just an interesting little,
Yeah, they made sure they got 50 stars on that thing, but it's still kind of funny.
Right. But Lois sees him and thinks, "Oh, I can't do this." And so she kind of perches herself.
What was the 49th state? Alaska?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'll have to look it up.
To the internet.
Yeah, you can look it up later too.
Yeah.
So she perches herself on this life raft to watch Superman do his thing. And then all of a sudden, Superman sees this flare, a submarine flare, he calls it.
Uh-huh.
And so he flies toward it, and Lois just happens to be in the way, kind of.
Right.
And she can't get underwater fast enough, and Superman stops short.
Uh-huh.
And says, "Whoa, Lois, what are you doing here?" And so she's hiding the bottom half of her body.
Right.
She's fighting, gasping for air or water, I guess. And she's like, "Oh, I'm fine, just vacationing. You go do your thing." And he's like, "Okay, fine." But then as he's, rescuing the submarine, he thinks, Lois is acting weird. But that's all he really thinks about it, and then he takes off with the submarine in the air. It's kind of a cool thing there.
Because the submarine was in distress or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he surfaces it. Oh, because the rising mechanism was jammed.
So they were stuck at the bottom of the ocean. Okay.
So Superman became the rising mechanism.
Of course.
And Aquaman was kind of just hiding there the whole time, watching Lois swoon over Superman. And he's like, you should have told him what happened, because he could have done something to help. And she says, no, nobody can help me now. I just need you to help me forget about Superman. And so he's like, well, grown. I'm sure nothing's going to change, and she's just going to be swooning after this guy while I do everything I can, break my back to give her a home. But anyway.
No.
Aquaman is coming back from patrols a few days later.
Yeah.
And he's been swimming underwater the whole time and doesn't know that there's sub-chaser boats up above practicing depth bombing. And I guess Aquaman didn't have a chance to tell them his backstory to know that they shouldn't depth bomb.
Right. Right.
Like he does.
Yeah.
And so he gets hit by one of the depth bombs, and Lois has no idea what to do, so she enlists the help telepathically, I guess she learned to communicate with the animals too, of Aquaman's fish friends.
Yeah.
And gets him to toss a bomb into the volcano to get Superman's attention. So the bomb goes off, and the volcano erupts, and Superman comes and puts it out. And as he does that, Lois passes out, but then Aquaman wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of gives Lois to Superman for him and tells him the story to see what he can do about it. He goes to Honolulu Hospital with Lois, and they say, there's nothing we can do, and there's nothing you can do either, because we can't let you operate on her since you're not a doctor. So Superman, in a very Superman-like way, uses his X-ray vision and super reading skills.
Because he could super speed read.
Yeah.
And so he reads every medical textbook they've got, and then he figures out how to fix her.
Yep, I can do it. And so they give him a test.
Mm-hmm.
They ask him all kinds of different medical questions, and he gets all of them right.
Mm-hmm.
We have to give him every doctor's degree we have. Is a legitimate line in this comic.
Yes, that's really said.
So then
by a doctor.
So then he uses his super speed to scrub up and perform the surgery on Lois, and she's back to normal.
Okay.
And then Aquaman uses his eels to spell "Good luck, Lois" in the ocean as she and Superman fly away.
Okay.
Cute, kinda, maybe a little.
Okay. So, do you have any closing thoughts about these stories that we've just read?
I kind of think Aquaman has got a bad rap somehow because
he breathes underwater and he talks to fish.
Right.
But some of these stories don't exactly help.
Right. But at the same time, these are just as hokey as all of the other Superman, Batman stories in the day. So I don't know how.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
But I think the culture, things are changing.
Yeah,
and pop culture is shifting towards no, Aquaman is actually cool.
And Jason Momoa is going to be.
Although he's really cut, but I don't really see him as Aquaman.
Right.
I thought would have been good. King of Sparta 300.
Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was rumors a while back about him being Aquaman. I'm like, yeah, I could see that guy as Aquaman, totally. But I think they want a guy who's not an A-list actor and not. They want somebody a bit younger.
Right. But at the same time, Jason Momoa is really well done, or is really well known because of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like, well, he's going to do it, so I better watch it.
Yeah, I'll go back and I need to see the Conan movie he did a few years ago, and then I'll have a better idea.
Yeah.
But it's weird. I love Conan, and I didn't see that. Weird, huh?
Yeah.
Anyway,
but that's it. I mean, the stories are just as hokey as everybody else.
Yeah.
But they're fun. I really like them. and it gives some context into, because all I know is the New 52 Aquaman.
Yeah, so now you're reading the Silver Age. It's got to be jarring.
Yeah, I mean it is, but more for the historical significance than like, well, he sucks now. Because
Right.
I mean,
Honestly, past the first couple arcs in the New 52, I got really bored with Aquaman.
yeah,
Personally.
that's fine.
First few arcs, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm done now.
Yeah, and it has kind of mellowed out. It has,
But I mean, those first few arcs are great stories.
they're really
and
good. And it's it's still quality stuff, but it is kind of not as exciting.
It's tapered off.
Right.
It's leveled off,
It's more
really.
getting into the Atlantean history and
Yeah.
kind of setting up for something maybe huge coming.
Maybe.
So
Hey, when's Throne of Atlantis come out on DVD? Soon?
soon, I think it is. It's either in the next month or so or early 2015.
Nice. Yeah, that's going to be cool. I definitely want to see that. So, yeah. Anyway, I think I'm going to end this abruptly, like right about now.